Hi, I'm Ginny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm really excited to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community because I have a real treat for you. I've assembled a panel of brilliant solopreneurs who will share what is in their solopreneur toolkit. I want to welcome Catherine Yarborough, Mia Zachary, and Emily Shaw. Thanks for saying yes to sharing your great ideas with us today.
Anything for you, Jenny?
Yeah, well, thank you. And I want to start with having you tell us just a little bit about you. And Catherine, I'm going to go with you and then Mia and Emily.
All right. Thanks so much. I'm Catherine Yarbrough, the founder of Speakers with Heart, and I give women coaches, healers, and on-purpose solopreneurs opportunities to speak on my summits, be part of my free Speakers with Heart community, and learn and grow in the trainings that I provide for them.
Thank you. And Mia.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Mia Elena Zachary. I am an intuitive counselor and Reiki master teacher in Charlottesville, Virginia. My practice focuses on clearing the obstacles to your potential, uncovering the best path to new possibilities. In other words, I help you deal with your shift.
Thank you, Mia. And Emily.
I'm Emily Scholl, a holistic money coach and founder of Me, Myself, and Money. And I help women to understand and heal their relationship with money.
Thank you, Emily. And I've known all of you were talking today, Emily, at least 6 years, Mia, probably, did we decide 9, 10, something like that, and Catherine, 23, 24 years. So I know that you all have a lot to do and a lot to offer out there in the world. And you've used a lot of things over the years that some worked and some might not have worked so well. So when we talk about our entrepreneurial or our solopreneur toolkit, it doesn't have to necessarily be something that's tangible. Like there are great tangible apps out there and tools that we can use. It can also be things that are intangible, like maybe just a mindset shift or some other a book that we read that kind of went, oh, this changed everything for me. So I'm open to anything that you all have come up with today. And I'm going to start with you, Catherine. What's your first one and why are you telling us about it?
My goodness. Well, I have a list of several different things. Some are inner tools and some are practical tools. And so we'll start with social media. It's kind of generic here, but it's available to us. We used to not have it. My suggestion in terms of your solopreneur toolbox is choose your social media lane. Instead of doing your best to be on all of the options, choose one and do it well and show up, and you can grow your network. That's what I do on Facebook. You can build relationships, and then people will want to come and do things with you.
I love that. Better to do one thing well than a whole bunch of things scattered and inconsistently, right? Because consistency is really key on social media to show up early and often. Thanks for that, Catherine. I like that. How about you, Mia? What do you have? What's your first one?
Well, I am a visual learner with ADHD, and that means I tend to verbally process things, otherwise known as talking to yourself. So I am constantly grabbing my phone, turning on the little voice recorder, and just, oh, I have to remember to do blah, 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 blah. And, oh, I had a really good idea for blah, 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 blah. But then who the heck has time to sit there and listen to yourself and like make notes of this? So the first tool that I wanted to reach for is rev.com. This is a service that is offering both human and AI transcription. So you can upload an audio file, you can upload a video, or if you have something that's a resource that you just want to capture, you can actually put a website URL into rev.com, and it will like very quickly, like within 5 minutes, depending on the length of the recording, turn speech to text. Why is that important? Because as a solopreneur, we have to manage our time, and not having to transcribe stuff myself, not having to, like even today, you could take the link that'll be on YouTube later from this particular discussion panel, run it through Rev, and you don't have to sit here and take notes. You can just transcribe the audio later. So that's one of my go-tos.
Well, I wrote that down because I've never heard of that and I can really use that. So thank you. Thank you, Mia, for that.
Put it
It's
in
great.
the
Yeah.
comments later.
Okay, thanks. Emily, what's your first one?
My first one, I don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for my mostly weekly calls with a fellow money coach. We were trained in the same program together. He lives in the UK. And ever since we finished our training, we decided to get together. There used to be 3 of us, and now there's just 2 of us. And oh my gosh, having someone who is like at the same level that you are building a business, neither of us had done anything entrepreneurial before, has been so incredibly helpful. It's helpful, of course, to learn from people who have more experience than you, but to have someone who just you can bounce off ideas of like the littlest things like, oh, how do I get more people on my webinar, or everything. We talk about absolutely everything, personal and business. And it has been just so helpful to know that you are not doing this alone, and to have another person to hear your ideas and tell you where you're going crazy and where, you make a lot of sense and you should be doing more of that. And just to validate, like, yeah, this is something that we're creating as we go along, and we just need to figure it out. And having some company along the way is incredibly helpful.
Emily, thank you for that. I so concur. And it sounds like you're talking about a little bit like masterminding, which if you're not familiar with masterminding, it was the titans of industry back at the turn of the century used this they got together, even though they could have been seen as competitors in some ways, and they put their brains together and started working on things. I created the On Purpose Women Global Community out of a mastermind group that we met for three or 4 years every week. And there were at least 5 of us all the time. Sometimes there were 6 or 7, and they supported me and they held my hand and they showed up for my first meeting, and it was really beautiful. And I currently, and I won't call her out if she doesn't want to be, but Catherine and I have been masterminding together for a number of years now. Twice a month we get together and we do exactly what Emily's talking about. And you really need to do that with a peer. You do it, like she said, you do it with somebody who's knows more than you, or sometimes you're the mentor and you're helping somebody else. But when you're doing it with a peer, it's like anything's on the table. You can talk about emotions, you can talk about strategies, you can talk about any of that stuff. I appreciate that so much. So Catherine, do you want to add anything to that? The value of that?
Yes, that was on my list as well, to have someone to talk to, and to have someone to talk to about your business. And I think the peer-to-peer relationship, mastermind, whether it's one-on-one or small group, is really, really helpful. It's also helpful at times to have a coach. Some people will always have a coach, and because they can see outside in a way that's different, and also have different feedback. But I think wherever it is that you're feeling drawn, it could be a coaching group that you're part of, where you can go into breakout rooms and get that feedback. But someone today so we heard about someone in this community gave another person here feedback, and to have someone outside of your business to look at your stuff, and so I want to add this to your toolbox. Be open to receive feedback. It doesn't mean you have to take that feedback on and change anything. It may be, but it is hard. I'm going to say this for me. I think I should know it all and have it all figured out. And boy, is that not true. And none of us knows it all and has it all figured out. And none of us can see from outside of our perspective. So to be open to someone sharing information, I think that's a useful thing to have in our toolbox. And that wasn't even on my list.
Great. Thank you for that. And I was going to ask any of you if you want to comment on anything that's been said so far, add anything to the discussion about what Mia, Emily, or Catherine, or I said. Anybody burning to say anything else?
I mean, I think everything that you've all said is very valuable. I can identify with the mentoring, with the having someone to speak with, to kind of really go through. But sometimes it's a challenge finding that person that you really click with. But I'm going to keep searching regardless. But I thank you all for the value that you're bringing to us today.
Thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to start now with Mia. Mia, what's your next one?
Well, sometimes, often, I'm working really late into the night because that's my preferred time when the house is quiet and there's fewer interruptions and distractions. And you don't always have somebody to talk to at that time of the late night, early morning. So one of my go-tos is a company called Paperbell. So Paperbell, all one word. And they are an all-in-one appointment scheduling, blogging, and services website that is specifically for coaches, and it's woman-owned and operated, and they are incredibly generous with information. So their blog on the paperbell.com/blog is just a masterclass on a variety of business and marketing topics for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. And they also, what I really love about it is they give templates and examples. So if you're ever looking for something in the middle of the night, their blog, Paperbell, is a really great resource.
That's also a new one for me. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Emily, what's
Yeah,
your
this resource a lot of people probably heard of, but if you haven't, Canva is my favorite thing for designing anything from presentations to yeah, social media posts. And they even have this whiteboard that I'm using to capture my thoughts for the book that I'm working on. And it's so wonderful because it's ever expansive. So you can start here and then have an idea over here and something over here. And oh, I just find it so helpful. It really brings out my inner graphic designer and make things look really pretty in a short amount of time, and well worth the yeah, 11 euros a month or so that it's that the cost is.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I
I'm
don't
going to
use
second that right quick. Canva is an incredible, incredible resource. If you don't have the time, money, or mental capacity to learn something robust like Adobe Illustrator or something like that, then Canva is a great resource. I agree.
I don't use it, but my VA does, and she does a beautiful job with it. So yes, I concur. Yeah. Catherine, what's your next one?
Speaking skills. I invite you to put into your toolbox speaking skills. So if you are not already developing your speaking, I encourage you to find ways to do so. We can all improve our speaking and communication skills. It is a unending, it seems like, journey to become the best speaker and communicator that we can be. And I love Toastmasters because there are chapters all over the globe. It is relatively inexpensive, and you can practice speaking. When I first went to Toastmasters in 2017, when I would speak, I was an okay speaker, but I'd say things like, well, you know how this goes, and y'all, you need to do this, and y'all, so this is what could happen, and so this and that, and so, well, you know, whatever. I mean, those kind of things were all over my speaking. I was still somewhat interesting, but I am so much crisper. That didn't sound quite right. I'm much better because I've gotten to practice so much. So
Thank
develop your
you.
speaking skills. Mhm.
Raise your hand if you've been to if you're a member of Toastmasters. Anyone here? Okay, so if you're not, and it resonates with you, check that out. And I want to jump in and just add something that's kind of funny. And I got an email. In fact, when you were in the breakout rooms, I was looking at my email and I saw an email from a woman who came to my very first meeting, who lives in North Carolina now. And I think some of you know her, Barbara Stanislawski. She was a web designer, the first woman web designer I ever knew. And she says, I can't be there today, but I'm going to add this. You got to have heart. She says it's from the damn Yankees musical, that song, You Gotta Have Heart. Applies to a lot of things in life, but especially for being in business. You gotta have heart. So I wanted to honor Barbara by putting her words out there. Okay, I'm going to start with Emily. Now, Emily, what do you have next?
Um, yes, as solopreneurs, we can get so caught up in strategies and like, oh, this isn't working. Maybe I'll do that. And then I do that for a while, and then I just kind of stop and do something else. And I think the best thing we can do is to continue working on ourselves, continue to bring awareness as to okay, when do I stop? Is it because I got a rejection and that feels bad? Um, Anything, whether it's therapy, whether it's working with a business or a personal coach, or anything in between. Like I have in the chat, I do IFS informed coaching now as well, trying to understand our patterns and get to know the different parts of us and what they do. Anything, whatever works for you, but you're never going to find an answer in a particular strategy or one particular marketing thing, or working with one particular, business coach who focuses in a certain area, unless you know yourself and what your own patterns are, what your own sticking points are, why it is you can't do the things that you really want to do, then nothing is really going to work. So just continuing on. And again, whatever modality works for you, just continuing on that path is going to be so incredibly helpful for you and your business.
Thank you, Emily. And I think that, what Catherine was talking about, was it Catherine? Wait a minute. Consistency, like social media, the consistency, the showing up and doing, like, picking one and doing it. We can also get our toes in all sorts of different kind of programs and projects. And oh, that one, that's the one, that's finally the one. I'm speaking for myself here. That's finally the one that's going to give me all the answers. And it might give me some of them, but I also have to jump in 100% and commit. And I can't tell you how many things I've paid for over the years that I never really started or didn't finish. I don't know if anybody else has that in your thing or not, but just find that one thing and give it your all before you decide it doesn't work, right? Yeah. I also want to throw something out about email lists. I'm still surprised when I'm talking to someone and ask them, a woman entrepreneur, how do you reach your people? Do you have a list? I don't. Well, then who do you send your information to? Well, I don't. Then how do people learn? Well, I bought a Facebook ad, or an email list is critical. It's imperative. You have to have an email list. Even if you have 50 people on it, those 50 people are on it because they wanted to hear from you. So you need to send them stuff. You need to tell them what you're up to, what you're doing. And there are ways to grow your email list. Catherine Summits are ways that you get new people coming to networking. That's how you grow your email list, and you keep adding new people. And if you have an email list that's small, sometimes it's still manageable just using, your Outlook or whatever. But if you need a content management system, beware of the ones that have all these bells and whistles that it's so challenging to even figure it out. You're never going to use it, and you're going to spend a whole lot of money for it. Try the free stuff first. I think I use Constant Contact. They have a free thing up to so many people. And I think, something monkey,
Yeah,
MailChimp.
MailChimp.
MailChimp monkey. Okay. Yeah, MailChimp. That also I think is free up to a certain point. So, but start with something, start with 5 people and do it, and just let them know what you're up to. So let's see. I'm going to start with Catherine first now. You got something else? Going to be wrapping up in a minute. So
I want to just tie a few things together. First of all, I was going to say an email app, and it's helpful to have a website. And in our breakout room, one of the Bev said that yes, I believe, was wanting to be able to do updates on the website herself. So I do recommend, if you're a solopreneur, if you can learn how to update your website, that is a really cool thing to have in your toolbox. And if not, you need to have an admin right at your fingertips, because it's really helpful to be able to update your website easily. But I want to go back to what Emily was saying, work on yourself. Jenny was saying, trying these different things out. I decided to sign up for a Facebook group to be a member. It's a group with over 800,000 women entrepreneurs in it. And I thought, okay, I decided to jump in December. They did a special deal, and I thought, I am going to get speakers out of it right away. Well, guess what? I did my posts. I thought they were really good posts and got nothing. No traffic from this group. And I thought at first, I just threw away $1,000. Should I quit? And then I decided to learn from the experience and keep plodding away because other people were getting interaction. And I've started getting traction on my posts. And we're at March, and I took like a month off because I was on sabbatical, y'all. So anyway, I'm going to keep showing up. Check back with me in a few months to find out if I actually attract people from this group. My point isn't the group. My point is choose and commit and make it through that hump. Unless it doesn't make sense to you, in which case let it go. And that is on here: resiliency, the courage to change, acceptance, all of those things. We need all of that out the wazoo, and keep listening to what really matters to you. Have a vision that excites you and go for it.
Yay. Great stuff. Thank you. Mia, what's your final word here?
My final word is actually 2 words. The most important thing I believe that we can have in our toolbox as solopreneurs is mental health support. So I'm going to just share my screen for a second. I don't know if you can even see that, but every time I open the Finch app, I get this cute little cartoon affirmation that makes me feel good. And it asks me these little smiley faces, how I'm feeling right now. And basically, it's a gamified self-care. So that basically you get this little baby bird that represents you, and every day you have to do things to take care of the baby bird, like take a walk, drink water, rest, get off your screens, eat something, move your body. But I just wanted to put that out there. It's Finch, it's app.bfinch.com. And it's just a cute little birdie that you take care of. But I like watching my little birdie grow and be happy and find rainbow gemstones every time I take care of myself.
I love that. Thank you for that. It will be valuable for a lot of people. And remember, other people are going to be watching this video. And yeah. Emily, what's your final word?
That ties into it. So my final word is to find out what works for you. Like Mia is such a great example of these really niche products that is exactly what she needs in her solopreneur journey. So there are so many recommendations. Just narrow in on what is going to work for me and find those and embrace them.
Thank you. And I'm going to add, Catherine talked about how important it is to be speaking out there. It's also important to be seen with your written word, writing, whether it's a blog, whether it's a Facebook post, whether it's an article in On Purpose Woman magazine, hint, hint, hint. Be seen out there, because for the most part, you don't have to pay for this stuff. It's another way to be seen. It's another way for people to know what you're an expert in, what you stand for, what you're really doing out there, what you hope to accomplish out there in the world. So reach out to me if anybody wants to talk about an article in the magazine. And if you don't have a blog, I don't have a blog, so I can't really say anything about not having a blog. But if a blog feels like it works for you, look into that. What would that look like? But at the very least, you can do some Facebook posts and some videos that help people know who you are and what you're all about. So I'd like to ask our people who are remaining here with us on Zoom to unmute yourselves, and let's give a big round of applause to our panelists. And panelists, let's all support each other and go, yay, thank you. Woohoo. Thanks a lot. And I want to thank you, Catherine, Mia, and Emily for sharing your wisdom with us today and saying yes kind of at the last minute to do this. I appreciate it. And I want to thank anyone who's watching this either live or on our YouTube channel. If you want to join us for one of these amazing Zoom gatherings or an in-person meeting in Columbia, Maryland or Tallahassee, Florida, then go to my website, opwgc.com, and check out On Purpose Women Global Community, as well as the magazine. That link is in the text of this video. Thanks so much for watching.